Hello and welcome to this training video on West Coast Informatics SNOMED CT database load script utility. To obtain and use this tool, go to the West Coast Informatics website, click on our resources section. Scroll down to the middle of the page, there's the DB load scripts section. And it has links for the international edition as well as the US edition. And for each of the editions, it has an Oracle, MySQL, and Postgres database load script. For the purposes of this demo, we're going to be using the US edition, which just released about a week ago, and we're going to do a MySQL database. Zip file takes a second to download. We're going to open the file, and there are three files, text files. First one's a how-to file, and it describes the steps that we're going to go through today to load MySQL into, or SNOMED into MySQL. There's also a license file. This is provided via the Apache 2 license, so you're free to use it as is, and you can do with it whatever you want. Last file is a README file, and it includes links to GitHub, source data or source code, and as well as it just mentions those last based off of the US edition. The next step is to download SNOMED from an LM. Go to the site. Download, log in. To notice the file starting to download. It's going to take approximately 5 to 10 minutes for it to download. So we're now going to pause this and return when it's completed. Okay, now the SNOMED files are downloaded. We're going to files, and I'm going to extract both of them to the current location. Okay. So next step is to copy the contents of the RF2 directory and add them to the SNOMED directory. And notice that there are two, well, a batch file and a script file, or one for Windows and one for Mac OS or Linux. Open the Windows file, and there are some variables at the top of the file that need to be modified. At the beginning at the top of the file, there's a MySQL. This points to the installation on your system. Here we use, or the file has a version 5.6. I currently have version 8 in my system, so I'm just going to copy over the location of it. Add it to the file. Install my database. It's a temporary database for this demo, so prior to running the script, the database will have to exist as well. Go back and show you the Linux version as well. And here at the top of this file, you can see that it's the same four variables exist. They need to be set before running load. Directory and run the batch file. This is going to take a little while to run. I'm going to pause and come right back. Okay, the database load is completed, and we're going to open up the MySQL log file. Scroll down to the very bottom of the file to ensure that everything completed without errors. Close the file. I'm going to look at MySQL workbench. And refresh. Notice on the left here, the tables, they're basically one per file or SNOMED file. In addition, there's some views that the names match the same as the table names, but with names is appended to the end. I'll describe that in a second. Query concept table, you can see that the data is loaded. And during the load, we also compute the concept preferred name as well. And then when I query the view, basically this is the same as the concept with names though. So instead, now each of these has a name. The ID columns is followed by the name. Module ID has a module name. The definition status has a definition status name. We're gonna do the same thing with the relationship. See that here's the source, here's the destination, characteristic type, modifier, but with names, you. Source ID now has a name, destination has a name as well. This way you don't have to go back and forth and cross-reference the different tables. This concludes the demo for the DB load scripts. If you have any suggestions or comments, please feel free to email us at info@westcoastinformatics.com. Thank you.